What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. A little bit of a different video today. We're going to be comparing our 1997 Peterbilt 379 long hood, the American classic truck, to a 1997 Scania 144G. This is a truck we personally have in our fleet. This Peterbilt we bought, and we actually just sold it. So we're going to take this opportunity before this truck leaves and dive into it. Today we're going to be checking out the interior, talking about what engines and transmissions and rear axles these trucks have, and the driver comforts and overall performance of the truck, horsepower and fuel economy. So first things first, let's start with this Peterbilt 379 long hood. This is the hardcore American truck driver truck. They built these from 1988 all the way up until 2007 when the Peterbilt went to the 389. But they're the iconic long hood truck with the big stainless steel breathers, the stacks. Now this is a coffin sleeper truck, what we call it. It's a 36-inch bunk, just enough space for you to crawl in there and die. Coffin sleeper. Stepping into the truck, you've got a couple steps here. First rep. Now, most of you that are watching that are not in America are not familiar with these, but the Americans, obviously we are. Aluminum steps. Biggest thing to notice, there's not a lot of pedestrian safety. So if you're a pedestrian, your head could contact that and go to sleep. Now, right inside the truck, first things first, classic old school seat here, air ride seat. It does have a shock, but this is not a seat that like automatically drains. You can see the exposed workings of all the airbag and all that stuff. Now this has a B model cat in it. It probably originally came with an E model, which is an electronic 3406E Caterpillar, which is a 15 liter or 14.6, I believe, something like that. But this one has an B model cat, which is, or actually a C model, which is a all mechanical engine. But let's hop inside and check out the interior on this. Now sitting inside the truck, without going into too much detail, roll your own lock gear on. We've got manual windows, manual locks. This truck, it comes available with an air actuated passenger window. Does not, but the seat is all the way back because this is what's called a small hole sleeper. Dash, super analog, lots of gauges, lots of switches, old school switches. You have to choose between your left and right fuel tank. We got air valves on the dash. You push to release your AC system. It's kind of like the same in style, same everything, other than they've changed the dash design from like a 359 to the 379. But everything is the same that was around in like this late to early 70s is what's in the Peterbilt. They just literally changed the dash. You have an adjustable steering column, Eaton transmission with a manual clutch, unsynchronized transmission. Now, before we get too far in the interior, let's jump over to the Scania. Have you ever thought about getting into woodworking but didn't know where to start? Or have you been doing it for a while and want to step up your game? Woodworkers Guild of America is where it's at, and they're sponsoring today's video. They're an online community packed with videos, plans, tips, and advice from total beginner stuff to advanced level builds. I've been diving into their premium videos on things like table saw techniques, gluing and clamping, sharpening, and even how to pick the right wood for the job. It's all taught by pros, step by step, in plain English. They're constantly adding new content, and you can even join live Q&As and connect with other woodworkers to get ideas and feedback on your projects. Even if you don't have a full workshop yet, just watching these videos gave me the confidence to start working on my first real project. And here's the deal. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in my description get a full year premium membership for just $1.49 for the whole entire year. That's an entire year for less than a cup of gas station coffee. So if woodworking has been something you're wanting to learn or just to get better at, join Woodworkers Guild of America and get building. This offer is valid for new members only. Big thanks to them for sponsoring today's video, guys. Let's get back to the video. Now, our big, beautiful Scania here. I'm a little biased. We've got Peterbilts. My beautiful blue Peterbilt Brutus is over there. But now, right on the outside, the battery box, we don't have it on here. Don't look at the battery wiring. We need to fix that. But a little bit of pedestrian safety here. There's no big pieces sticking out other than this big hydraulic and fuel tank here. So it's not really standard something. Usually there's the nice plastic skirts on the side. But this was a heavy haul truck. It's got double frame. We'll get into the frame and all that stuff here in a minute. But climbing in the truck, it is a little bit of a hike. It's up here. The Peterbilt, right about here is where your floorboard is. So you sit up a lot higher, but that changes things. You have a lot better visibility. So climbing in, a lot different. Cabover truck. This is literally the only trucks they had available in Europe at the time. There might have been a few T-cabs back in the day. But big thing, door opens almost 90 degrees. So climbing in and out of this truck, not really a big deal if you've got good knees. Sitting in the cab of this truck, this is a basic fleet model truck. Nothing fancy. We're not going to talk about the sleeping area quite yet. Now, I did change the steering wheel. We put a big daddy classic 3-spoke steering wheel in here. But now we still have analog gauges, but the gauges are more compact, and you only have what you need to see. The Peterbilt has got gauges for like the rear axle temperatures, things like that, to monitor all these things. The Scania has that, but it has notifications, so if you start running too hot, it will actually notify you. Now we've got your normal air pressure, oil pressure, battery, discharge, and charge, while on the American trucks we have battery voltage, so you can see if it's between 10 and 14. Here we can see if the batteries and alternator's charging or not charging by the amp meter that you have there, and of course fuel and coolant temperature. Now all of this is in metric, while we have Imperial and the Peterbilt, two different worlds. Obviously these trucks are worlds apart. Instead of having big air knobs to release inside our Scania, we've got air levers here, and we have a trailer parking lever here. Now this isn't something that's really common. This is actually really similar to a lever in the Peterbilt we'll show you, which we call the Johnny bar or J bar. Which is the trailer brake bar, and we have that because these trucks didn't have ABS. This truck right here actually has traction control and ABS in it. Pretty crazy. Now this truck does have a little bit different style of parking brake release, as it does have a push button here, which most Scanias didn't. Our other two Scania trucks do not have that. They have just the levers here, but did have a nice big plastic steering wheel. We did put the classic steering wheel in here. Does have tilt steering wheel. It is an automatic truck.
What?
That's one major difference. Now you could have had a stick shift, but the stick shift in the Scania trucks are actually a synchronized transmission, which you have to use a clutch in between shifts. Now we have a clutch pedal in this truck in order for taking off, starting, and stopping operations, because the transmission does shift automatically for you with a robot on top of it, but you still have to use a clutch pedal to take off. Now, a big difference between the Peterbilt and the Scania is the clutch pedal is actually air assist. So it's actually a hydraulic clutch, but it also has an air cylinder that helps it make it much easier to shift. I mean, it takes almost no pressure whatsoever. You can push it down with one finger. All the driver controls are really easy to get to. It's more like driving a 90s car here in the US inside the Scania compared to the Peterbilt, which is like driving a 1950s or 60s pickup truck, but it was a 1997, which is pretty crazy. All the AC, dash, everything is really easy to get to. Plenty of storage everywhere, and we'll get into the bed in just a second.
A few moments later. A few inches later. 12 seconds later.
All right, now that we've let the air out of the seat, the Scania does have a button you just click to let the air in and out, and automatically levels. We didn't even talk about the seat. It's one of the coolest parts in that truck. These are factory seats in a Pete. And it's pretty crazy because factory seats are always like trashed. Red velvet interior. This thing's actually a classic. Now we talked about the J bar, right? So this is the trailer bar. So if your trailer starts sliding sideways past you on an icy road, you just yank that thing, the trailer straighten right up. Now, Scania has something similar to that. We've never tried it or used it, but it has it. Now, coffin sleeper, like I said, it's smaller than a twin mattress. It's honestly about the same size bed as what's in the Scania behind the seats, so not much bigger. And there's no air condition back here. You rely on the air condition from up here on the dash. Headspace, not a whole lot. The truck needs a little bit of work. It's not perfect. Scania needs a little bit of work, but you know, this is what you got. When you compare the cabover to this truck, you actually have a little bit more space in the Scania to work with. Visibility out the windshield, out the side doors, stuff like that, not a whole lot. I mean, it's definitely a different vibe. It's like the trucker's truck, the classic red-blooded American trucking truck, you know, but it's a very compact. You're right next to your driver. And these cup holders that are right here are not a factory thing. That's been added because these things didn't have cup holders from the factory, believe it or not. Or not, most of the trucks didn't. So yeah, there's your driver compartment. Sorry, 1 second.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow for sure.
All right, coffin sleeper, like I said. Now this is a small hull truck, so shortly after the year model that it is, you could have had what's called a big hull, where this sleeper actually came way over here and the seats actually slid back another 3 or 4 inches or even more, and it gave you more driving space. But this is what you had to work with. Now inside, it's getting dark, guys. Bear with us. We're trying to make a great video. We're actually headed to the Gulf Coast Big Rig Show. If you guys are watching this right now, come see us in Biloxi, Mississippi. We'll be down there Friday and Saturday at the show, bringing in the new Scania, our toy Scania, all kinds of stuff and merch. Come see us. But talking about in here, this ain't much of a bed. I don't know if you guys know this. Ain't much. It's pretty thin, not real comfortable, but it's factory, right? But up here is where the magic is at. I don't know if we've got good lighting in here or not. Oh, wait, we might be able to turn some lights on. I don't know how to do it. Oh, I think I blew all the lights out in here because I drove this thing home 4,000 miles from Canada. Oh, there you go. Look at that. There's a whole bunk bed up above your head where you can sleep, and there's actually a ladder right here that folds down out of the ceiling to let you climb up there. And that kind of concludes our tour of the inside of the Scania here. Lots of storage underneath the bed. You do have a big hump here because of the style cab it is, and it's an old 4 Series. It's not a full flat floor, but it's much better than having a hump right here on the old American cabovers you're having to climb over and maneuver around. Sorry guys, it's a little chaotic in this video. We're trying to crank out some really great content because this truck is actually leaving Saturday to go to the new owner, and he said we can make a video with it. Dad just got a brand new truck. Check that thing out. Freaking sick. Ram Fam. What up? Ram Fam. We should trademark that. That's a good one. Anyhow, we're not going to open the cab on the Scania. Most people have seen that. They know what it is. A lot of viewers are European. But here, we have the C model 3406B Cat. 425 horsepowers. Mechanical. Big old mechanical injection pump. Right here on the front is actually a adjustable timing, so it actually has adjustable timing throughout the RPM. I don't know how to explain it, but someone in the comments could probably tell me what I'm saying wrong. But yeah, 4 1/4 Cat, famous thing. Now Scanias came to the USA in the late 80s, early 90s, but they came with a 325 or 360 horsepower engine, and this was the truck they had to compete with. And in my personal opinion, that was one of the biggest hurdles they had to overcome, and obviously they didn't successfully overcome that. Was when you had this truck on the lot versus a 3 Series Scania, which was a great truck, but in the USA it was only available with less, 350 horsepower engine roughly, and you only had to get a Scania transmission, Scania axles, and they were heavy. This truck right here is around 18,000 pounds with 425 horsepower, and you could get a 10-speed, a 9-speed, a 13-speed, a 15-speed, and even an 18-speed transmission. Now, was this a far superior truck compared to the Scania trucks that came in the US? That's so everyone can leave up to their own interpretation. But when you had, 75 to 100 more horsepower available, it was the obvious choice to take the truck, as back in the late 80s, early 90s, the Americans weren't too concerned about fuel mileage. And even today, some of us really aren't. We're about miles per gallon instead of miles per gallon. But anyhow, under the hood here, really, really old school for a 97 model truck. Yeah, there wasn't an air ride option back in the day. There may have been on a few trucks, but it was almost always standard with spring ride, never air ride front suspension. Now our Scania, on the other hand, over here is spring ride, yes, but air ride was quite common on some of the 4 Series. Now this one has got a 460 horsepower engine with a 12-speed automatic, which is actually the same as a manual. Back in the day, if you wanted automatic, that really wasn't even an option on these old school trucks, and they definitely had clutch pedals, but automatics really weren't even a thing until the early 2000s. Moving to the back of the trucks back here, we have Eaton rear axles, gear sets unlimited of just using whatever gears you want, 40,000 pound rear axle. So each axle is rated for 20,000 pounds each. And almost every single American truck has a tandem drive setup, and almost always has tandems because of our weight limits. With tandem axles and a 12,000 pound front axle, you could do a combined gross vehicle weight rating of truck, trailer, and load of 80,000 pounds. Now, in Europe, with having just 2 axles on the ground and not even having 1 axle on the back of the Scanias back here, they could run 40 metric tons, which is around 88,000 pounds with just 2 axles, and that's never been an option ever in the USA. Now, like I was saying, our Scania has a 20,000 pound rated front axle with some rough calculations from kilograms, and a 23,000 pound drive axle and a 23,000 pound lift double boogie axle. Now, this is a non-steering axle. The truck's so dirty because we haven't made any videos with it. We need to make some more videos with this truck in the near future. Double frame, so heavy haul spec truck, something different there. It's a lot heavier truck, to be honest. Talking about a truck right here that probably weighs 22 to 23,000 pounds compared to our 18,000 pound Peterbilt. 4,000 pounds is a lot of difference when you're only able to haul 80,000 pounds down the highway. Air suspension. I mean, we could go all day on all the differences between these trucks, the fifth wheels, the type of sliders, the way everything's exposed. So here in America, we don't have laws against protecting bicyclists and pedestrians while people are walking down the road. So that's why you see a lot of American trucks super exposed on the side. We run a round fuel tank. Don't ask me why. Round fuel tanks. We have a square fuel tank over there. Lots of exposed space. You look inside this frame, there really isn't anything going on inside here. There's not a whole lot, like at all, actually. Single frame, cross members everywhere. Our Scania over here, we have a double frame because this is a G model truck. It's spec'd as a heavy spec truck. A lot of stuff going on, but the reason being, all this stuff you see happening on this frame right here is stuff that's actually usually underneath the cab of this truck. But since we have a cab sitting over all the stuff that you see right here, it looks like it's much busier. And this truck is much more compact. It's very short, as you can see. And you see me pulling it out here, the turning radius is absolutely insane. When we get another truck available like this, we'll do a driving comparison of the two, and you guys can see the ride difference and things like that, which let's talk about the suspension that's on the cabs. Come over here. Now, our Scania has a 4-bag air suspension on this cab, so 2 airbags in the back and 2 in the front with shock absorbers on each airbag. So the cab essentially floats down the road, but it also has a big torsion bar or sway bar in the front to keep the cab from feeling like it's going to fall over. Now, back in the day, you had the old Ford L9000 cabovers here in the US that had the same type of suspension, but they didn't have any sway bars or they weren't strong enough. So when you go around a turn, you felt like you're going to fall off the side of the road. These have big airbags hidden up inside here to keep you nice and steady while going down the road. Now, on this model truck, it has an air ride cab. The sleeper is actually stationary. So everything put in the sleeper is going to be bouncing around. But I guess it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to have an air ride sleeper if you're not going to have a passenger in there sleeping while you're driving. So air ride cab only, and actually only has either 1 or 2 single airbags up underneath this cab to keep you bouncing down the road. Now, it doesn't have front air suspension on the cab. It just actually has a single rubber mount where the cab just kind of like pivots like this while you're riding down the road. Now, standing here at the front of the trucks, the obvious thing, cabover, conventional, long hood. But which one's more aerodynamic? You guys comment down below and tell me what your opinions are, and maybe someone can pull up some factual information on the aerodynamicacy, whatever you want to call it, of these trucks. And this truck, being a flat face, does have lots of smooth corners and turns other than the big bull bar here, but everything is very sleek. No sharp edges anywhere. Everything's designed to flow. This truck, not so much. So like I said, 425 horsepower. We didn't even talk about this. 460 horsepower. And I think the torque is much higher than that. I don't know the specs offhand, but comment down below. I want to hear you guys interacting with this video and telling me the torque numbers on these trucks. I want to hear your guys' arguments down in the comments. But before we get out of here, we want to talk about something I think is a really cool fact on the back of this truck back here. Now, you see what comes as a factory fender on these Peterbilts. And actually, we didn't even talk about this, the tire size. We have an 11R 24.5 tire. This was a standard size tire on this truck. And we have quarter fenders, and that's it. Having big fenders, big hump cover fenders was never, ever a thing on these trucks back in the day. Now, our Scania here has got plastic fenders with removable winglets, tops on here. Really easy and simple, protects people from tires blowing up. But very sleek, designed, everything from the fender tops to the safety, everything being plastic. A lot of people say plastic trucks are no good, but I mean, this thing has stood the test of time for the same amount of time that Peterbilt has, and that is a immaculate example of a 1997 Peterbilt. And also the Scania is also as well taken care of. At the back here, you've got full plastic tail lights, something a lot of us think maybe looks cheap or doesn't look great, but they're still functioning, still works. Overall, great trucks from two different worlds apart. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking about our splitter guard that wasn't on the Scania in the last few videos. The reason being that thing picked up so many rock chips from the road because it's fiberglass, and we actually added and painted that ourselves. Now, I had it repainted by our friends up in Kentucky, and they actually put PPF on it, which is paint protection film, like a clear wrap on it, which is actually what we have on all these panels of the truck already. Ooh, we actually don't have it on there. Look at that. Might be about time to repaint these and put some PPF on those. But we're taking this beast to the Gulf Coast Big Rig Show. Hope to see you all there. We got our step deck behind it. We usually don't pull the step deck behind this truck, but you cannot tell me this thing don't look freaking clean. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this setup here. We've got our merch cases. I got my Ram pickup on there, so we have something to drive. Hope to see you all down there in Biloxi. Hope you all enjoyed this quick video we pumped out here for you all today, comparing the 97 Peterbilt to the 97 Scania truck. Comment down below with any video ideas you guys may have in the future of doing comparisons to American or just vehicles we have here in the US now that we have a few Scania trucks here stateside. And for a lot of you that were asking about our auction, it went awesome. We sold almost everything, and I cannot wait in the very near future to let you all know what we have in store coming next. It's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be huge, it's gonna be big. Make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe, comment down below and hear everyone's opinions. I read almost every comment, guys. I may not get back to everyone, but I try to read through everyone because Scania is watching. They love reading everyone's comments and seeing what everyone thinks about the trucks here in the US and around the world. We'll see you later. Peace.